Ian Sherr, as I said, if I need tech journalism, and who doesn't every day, this is the guy you turn to. Mm-hmm. And Ian writing for everybody these days. Good morning to you, sir.
How are you doing?
Nice to have you back on.
It's good to be here.
It seems there is a necessary panic in two areas of your world. Let's start with your Google accounts going away today. What does that mean?
Well, first off, they're not going away, so don't worry. What's happening is that Google has always been this kind of digital pit that a lot of people threw stuff into,
Sure.
right? They got Gmail accounts, they got Google Photos, they just threw stuff in, and it was all for free. Well, Google has said, look, we can't hold everything, and we're going to start deleting some stuff. And so they are starting on Friday with accounts that have been at least 2 years inactive. And that means that if you haven't logged in or done anything, then they might start deleting some of the stuff off your account. But if you've interacted with it at all, you're fine. You're not going to be impacted. They really, even then, they're only starting with accounts that people literally created and then never touched again. So for most people, this isn't going to matter. But for people who have changed their names, or maybe have, my father passed away, I still have access to his Gmail. I wasn't sure what to do about it.
Oh, sure. That's tough.
Those types of situations you might want to think about over the next day.
Then there's those people who forgot their passwords and just never
quit.
went back.
Never tried.
Just gave up.
But Ian,
like me.
Yeah.
Ian, here's a legitimate question, I think. If you have a Google, I have a couple of burner email accounts where every time you sign up for something, they want an email. And if it's something you think you're going to get spammed to the end of time, you have an account you can dump it into. So I've got a couple of those. Yeah. One's a Gmail account. But that I don't send anything from that account. So the fact that that's receiving email doesn't count for this because I'm not interacting with it?
Well, like I said, if you've logged into it at all in the last 2 years, you're fine, right? If you have...
But I need to at least do that. It can't just be the dumpster.
It can't just be the dumpster. That's right.
Okay.
Google is essentially telling us all, we will only be your dumpster for 2 years.
Okay. Which by the way, is a terrible slogan.
Right. And if you want, Ian,
Yes.
If you want access to those accounts, just re-log in. And if you forgot the password, just have them send, that dual push ID.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, they are trying to clean stuff up without having too much impact. Most people are never going to even notice.
The second thing on the list of unnecessary panic, name drop. Now, nobody name drops better than I do, and I'm not talking about Apple. But in this case, name drop is a way for you to share contact information, and there's some significant panic over, your ID, your data, everything's going to be stolen with this. I don't see a lot of concern in the tech world. Are you concerned?
Not at all. So first off, name drop is similar to, you may have heard of AirDrop,
sure.
Right, which was a feature that Apple implemented a long time ago. And it became very popular because some really awful people were sending illicit images to people on airplanes, right, that had AirDrop turned on for everyone. Name drop is different. What it does is that if you have a up-to-date, right, most recent software of an iPhone or an Apple Watch, and you bring them really close together, I mean nearly touching, then you'll have an option to share your contact info. And essentially what they're trying to do is solve for these situations where you meet someone and you're like, hey, we should hang out or chat more. And I typically hand the person my phone and ask them to type in their phone number or their email. Well, that's not terribly fun, or it's kind of awkward when they're doing that. And so Apple said, hey, we have all this data here. Why don't we make it easier? And the idea sounds great. What has happened is some police departments, for some reason, have gotten worried that, kind of a James Bourne or a Jason Bourne situation might happen, where you're kind of in a group and someone kind of comes by and steals your data off your phone, which cannot happen. You have to approve it. I tested this after this warning went out from the police departments, I went to my wife's phone. Okay. Apple knows my wife's phone is connected to mine because we're on a family account. And I tried to do the name drop thing, and it asked me to approve it, even though we are both in a family and Apple knows that.
That seems pretty fail-safe.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I'm not going to say it's completely fail-safe, but honestly, you do not live in a James Bond film. You are okay. It's not going to happen. You don't have to be worried.
Andre, you got a listener texter question?
Ian, yeah, listener texting about the first topic that we talked about with Gmail. How do you find out if you have another Google email? I know I have another one, but I don't remember what the address is.
Ooh, that's tough. So you can go in when you go to Google and you try to sign in. There are options, right? One of them is forgot my password. I believe they might have an option for you to be able to put in your phone number if you had it attached to that account. That's one way it could find. But otherwise, if you don't remember it, I think honestly,
probably just goes
may
away.
Be lost to time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you may not have any other options. It's really
well. In that case, maybe Google's doing you a favor.
Right,
I mean, they're
right.
getting rid of an account you're not using anyway.
Right.
Yes.
All right, so one last thing, and again, it's Ian Sherr. The only tech news you'll ever need comes from Ian. We had an expert on yesterday talking about the Sports Illustrated story.
Oh, yeah.
And AI creations for alleged journalists then deleted when the whole story was discovered and then blamed on a vendor. This seems to have longer legs and is a bigger deal. And won't just be sucked up by the news cycle. True? No, not true? Where do you fall on this?
I see it as a growing wave, right? This is not the first time we've heard of a publication dealing with this, and we've seen it now across the spectrum, right? And by the way, it's worth noting the Associated Press and the Washington Post have been very public, and Bloomberg, about using AI to generate stories in their systems, and they've been doing it for a lot longer than Sports Illustrated. The difference is that they have always been open and honest about it, right? They've always said this is a computer-generated story, and they did it for stuff like sports scores or earnings reports. I think what's challenging now is that because the media industry, as I know very well, is going through a lot of upheaval, some of them are looking for ways to cut corners, and it's unfortunate that this type of thing is happening. But if I had my crystal ball in front of me, Sports Illustrated will not be the last one that we're going to hear about it about. It's
Ian Sherr. How do we follow you on social?
Well, I'm on any social network. I'm under the username Ian Sherr, IANSHERR. But I'm not as active on X as I used to be, as you can imagine.
Seems like a healthy choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And coming up, Elon Musk tells everyone to F off. We haven't gotten to that yet this morning.
Well, and I already listened to him.
Happy holidays. Ian, be well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thanks, Ian.
He's really good. Really good.
Oh, he's the best.
So don't panic about your Google account. Just interact with it one time, and you can leave it alone for 2 more years.
But we can't help you with the password.
No. And name dropping, leave it to stories I've told over and over again but forgot.